Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is a very special edition of Unger the Radar, where we talk all things film. And with me today, I'm very blessed right now. I'm very lucky to have with me actor William Sadler, also known as Bill. You might know him from the Bill and Ted films, parts 2 and 3, Die Hard 2, The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and countless other films and TV shows. He now stars in the new thriller Alice Fades Away, now available on digital platforms. Bill, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Randy. Nice to be here.
Yes, it's very exciting. And I saw the film Alice Fades Away the other night. Very interesting film, very dark, very gritty, very sinister. Um,
Yeah.
what attracted you to the project?
I think those things I saw when I read the script, I saw in this character a a powerful a powerful man in his later years who is in a situation that he can't control at all, and it's and that tension um, is kind of always fascinating. I mean, it's that King Lear thing, It's like um, he should he shouldn't be this upset that late in his life, but his grandson is missing, and he wants him back.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a very
Spoiler alert.
there. Yeah, there you go. It's a very dark role, and I know that you've pretty much made a career out of playing villains. Not to say that you haven't played some relatively pleasant characters as well, but what attracts you to the more darker character?
I can't. I'm not exactly sure. I enjoy playing them. They're fascinating. They tend to be fascinating people.
Mm.
They're most villains. If you can, well, first of all, if you can't be James Bond, be Doctor No. You
Yeah.
know, if you're going to be one of the two people, it's better that than one of the henchmen, or And when I got to Hollywood, when I got to Los Angeles, um, I don't know, what was it, 89 or 80, 88 or 89 or something like that. Um, they almost immediately started casting me as these evildoers, and I was good at it. They liked it. I mean, they took one look at my face and went, "Oh yeah, no, he could definitely kill everyone in the room and then sit there and eat a sandwich." and 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 which I've always found is kind of silly, because I'm one of the nicest people I know.
Yeah. So
Um,
far, we're
I,
2 minutes in, and you
I've
seem like
never killed anybody. I've never that I know of. Um, you know, I don't never get fights. I don't. But they they saw in my face someone, and also I am blessed with. Do you know what resting bitch face is?
I think yeah, I've heard of it. That's like
It's
you're it's all internal, right? That you're
it's
pissed
like,
off.
yeah, if you don't put any energy in your face,
Right.
you just let your face hang,
Yeah.
you look like a you just look like a bitch. Um, I have resting axe murder face. So if I'm not like putting forward the energy to smile or engage or something, um, it can look like he's about to kill everyone in the room and then eat a sandwich.
Yeah. And one of the roles that pretty much personifies that, I think, would be Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, what was that experience like being on that film?
Oh, I was thrilled. I was a big fan. First of all, I was a big fan of the first one,
Mm.
of Die Hard, um, and that had only come out, I think, the year before.
Yeah,
This
2 years.
was or 2 years before.
Yeah.
Um, but I was blown away by it, like everybody else. I think Bruce Willis was amazing. Alan Rickman blew my socks off. I just like he was, you know, he was just this phenomenal actor. And when they handed me, here, you get to follow Alan Rickman and Die Hard in the sequel. There was some trepidation, I
Yeah.
have to say. I worked very hard to make him. Well, first of all, he's different. He's not the
Yeah.
same sort of human that Alan Rickman played, but also um, just to make him believable. But my philosophy has always been, if you can get the audience to believe even just a little bit of what you're doing,
Hmm.
you can tell them any story
Yeah.
you want. They'll come with you to Mars, you know.
Did you did you get Alan's blessing?
No, I've never.
No.
No, I never met Alan.
Interesting.
Which was too bad. I was a fan.
Mm.
I just tried not to, be intimidated by how well he played it.
Yeah.
So
And whose idea was the naked Tai Chi scene? I'm curious.
that was our director. That was Rennie Harlan's
Okay.
idea. It wasn't. It actually wasn't in the script. It's just says a half-naked man doing Tai Chi in a hotel room.
Hmm.
And Rennie, I found out about it at the costume fitting when there wasn't a costume for it. And Rennie said, "I thought you would be nude."
Yeah.
And and I said, "Well, you push that scene off to the end of the filming, and I'll, get me in a gym, get me a trainer."
Was
And
it was the costume fitting just a hanger, an empty hanger that said birthday suit?
it said birthday suit.
Yeah. That's
No,
awesome.
no, it literally was. I I put on I had the trench coat and the boots and the pants and you know, all of his gear,
Mm.
and we finished. And I asked him, what's he wearing in the hotel room? Because I thought it was just going to be like, sweatpants or something,
Yeah.
something like that. But I turned it that sort of added a layer of, oh my God, to the to the, to the performance as well. Knowing that on such and such a date, I was, they're going to put my butt on film for all time in the biggest blockbuster of the summer.
Right.
Um,
Well, you pulled it off. It looked great. It's a great
Thank
film.
you. Thank you.
It's one of the stronger Die Hard sequels. That's for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, in my opinion, the last two installments were not really that great, but
It's kinda-
first three, fantastic.
yeah, they may have stretched it out just a hair too long.
Yeah, a bit. Um, and the next year, 1991, you were cast as the Grim Reaper, Death,
Mhm.
in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
True
And
enough.
I know you get asked about that a lot. It's what when I think of you, I think of that movie. And
Cool.
yeah, it's just a great performance. And you reprised the role nearly 30 years later for Face the Music. What was that like, revisiting that character?
It was great fun to get back together with Alex and Keanu, and the writers were the same. Most of the heart of the team was the same. It was, I'm glad they didn't wait any longer. It was getting. I would have met the Reaper in person.
Oh no.
um, but the Grim Reaper has been one of the most fun roles that I've gotten to play, because he gets to be funny. As large a character as he is, with the Czechoslovakian accent and all the rest of it, and the white skull makeup, he may be the most human of the characters that I've played. He, you know, everything that happens to him, he wears on his face, and as soon as he as soon as he starts playing those games with the boys, and he's no longer a scary creature at all. He's
Right.
petulant and a
What was it?
sore
Battleship,
loser, and then he wants to be part of the band, and what about my butt? And
playing Battleship and Twister and
right, and cheating at it.
yeah.
I said Plum.
Yeah,
No way.
I was maybe about 5 or 6 when that movie came out, and it was just hilarious. It was really, yeah. The Bill and Ted films are great, and I hope to show them to my kids someday.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you hope to be in more installments?
I would be very surprised if there are any more
Mm,
installments of Bill and Ted. I think
yeah,
it may be the trifecta.
like a nice trilogy. Just
Yeah, yeah. I thought they did a really, really nice job of sort of tying up all the loose ends and what happened to everybody,
yeah.
and they did, the song that saves the universe that they were supposed to write that they never got around to writing. What happened
Fun
to
one.
that?
What
Yeah.
what was it like working with Dean Parasote?
Oh, he was fantastic. He was fantastic. He was just he's there are directors who are freeing when you get on the set,
Mm,
and you you sort of have to expose yourself. You put yourself out there and try things. And especially in a comedy, in a big, sort of a big character like that. And he was just fantastic. Um, Encouraging, that was that's great. That's fantastic. Do another one, whatever you want to do. And we would do another one. And you know what I mean? You feel,
yeah.
um
You
you
feel
I
welcome
would
to.
get notes, but they were always they always sort of felt like they always sort of pushed you to go further.
And in any creative or artistic medium, you need that sense of collaboration. I think that's paramount.
Oh,
Sure.
no, I agree. I agree. I've worked with directors who aren't that way, who look
Mm.
at you like, you're not going to do it that way, are you?
Oh.
And it's like, oh, oh, I guess I'm not.
So going back to Alice Fades Away, was working with Ryan Bliss a blissful experience?
It was. He was again one of the directors who sort of opened doors with it. You would do a take, and there was this sort of encouraging criticism. That was great. Try it again. Um, I think we've got it, but let's try one more where you don't do that thing with your hands, or you know. Um, I really thought he had quite a terrific eye,
Mhm.
as well for. Um, I think the cinematography in that movie is
Oh yeah, it looks
phenomenal.
really beautiful film.
It's gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous. Um,
What was
Place
it
and
like?
time, and I love that period
Mm,
right after World War I,
mhm.
when just the cars and the clothes and the hair. Um, it's there's it's far enough in the past that it feels like
Hmm.
a really different world.
Yeah.
It's like Bonnie and Clyde's world. There was still a wildness about the country, and
And I think if a movie transports you in that way,
which
then
it does. Yeah.
yeah, the movie has definitely done its job.
No,
I
I
know you won't, and sadly though, I know you only have a few scenes in the movie, but they're so good, they're so powerful. What was it like working with the rest of the cast?
I found, you know, I guess I've been. I thought they were wonderful. They're delightful actors and actresses, and I'm always surprised at how much training um,
Hmm,
young actors are able to accumulate these days, because it isn't easy.
mm,
I mean, I grew up doing theater.
mm,
Um, the whole first 11 years or something that I spent in New York was nothing but theater, and then made the transition into film. Um, but there was I had a wonderful time with that group of actors. I thought they were fantastic, and I've sort of reached a point in my career where people, especially young actors, treat me like, I guess, the way we treated James Whitmore in Shawshank. We would just they was would sort of gather around the foot of his director's chair and ask him, you know, what was it like work with this actor and that actor, that director, and so I get, I get a bit of that. There's a lot of sort of reverence for how much work um, I've done.
Yeah, you have quite a career. Uh,
Even I get tired looking at.
yeah, yeah. I I was looking at your IMDb page right before this, and it's just every year you are a busy man, sir.
I like this gig. I really like this gig. I I don't know what else I would do. I mean,
Hmm.
I enjoy acting more now than I think I ever did when I was younger. I used to fret and
Hmm.
you know question myself, and I need another take, and I would beat myself up over things, and now I just enjoy it. I have
Hmm.
everything inside me is so close to the surface now that it's sort of like a violin, a really well-made violin. You only have to touch the string, and it just sort of sings.
Hmm.
Um, if that if that
Yeah.
makes sense. I used to have to work much harder to get any sound out of this instrument, and now it just kind of comes out.
Would you say that things are getting better and better for you in your career?
I think so. I think so. I'm certainly pretty happy with where things are. I've taken to writing songs.
Oh,
Um, I mean, during COVID, everything kind of. I started a movie in March called Shrine, and it took them between March and October or September to the end of September to figure out how to shoot
yeah,
everybody without killing everybody. And
yeah.
um, so we could come back. We came back and we finished the movie, and I'm expecting that to be a terrific film as well. But very different. It's a horror thing.
Yeah.
It's but
I ask a lot of filmmakers and actors, what is it like working creatively during this pandemic? Uh,
oh, it's there are a lot of hurdles, and they're more for the producers, who they they have to go back and do rewrites so that you're the only one in the scene, or it's a phone call now,
mm,
or I played a priest and speaking to a congregation, a church full of people, and you can't have a church full of people,
right.
so there was no one there. I was I was speaking to I was speaking to an empty room, and then they turned the camera around and they laid in a few people, took them out, put in more people, laid those people in, and built up a crowd
Huh.
virtually.
Right. Or they
Uh,
could do what they did in Forrest Gump for some scenes where there's a crowd, they do it digitally and just do like
right.
CGI.
Things like that. But I don't know how much of that there was. I don't think there was any of that in Alice Fades Away.
Mm.
It was
It's a small cast. It was
a
mostly
small cast,
farmhouse. Yeah.
and it's a intimate, in intense, frightening story.
Yeah.
You know.
Very well made. And the story was unique. And again, you mentioned the atmosphere at the time, the 50s, or after World War I, you said, but
Yeah.
it looks so authentic. It was everything looked great, and you added to it with your cigar, and it was just a lot of fun to watch. Um,
It was it was great fun. It was great fun to work on.
yeah,
Um,
it's a good film.
again, it was like this, I just feed off the energy and the young filmmakers, young actors, young filmmakers. Um, they come at it with the same intensity that I guess I used to, um, 30, 40 years ago.
Mm.
And now we're just coming from two different places, but the dance is the same.
Yeah,
Um,
interesting. So I'm curious, what do you hope audiences take away from Alice Fades Away?
I don't know. I think there's there's maybe a self-sufficiency in the main character when she um, good overcoming evil. She faces down the demons
Mm.
um, and comes out clean on the other side, which um, which doesn't seem at all likely, um, throughout the film. I'm not sure. People, it's a great ride,
Yeah.
and
Very
um,
violent too,
there's
I
a,
noticed.
there's a and there's a lot of courage. There's a lot of love. There's some tenderness, and there's some damn frightening moments.
Yeah.
Um, Scary, creepy.
It's got a lot of good elements, and
It's got it. Yeah, if you like movies.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a smaller film, but I think everyone should go see it because I really enjoyed everything about it.
Thank you.
So yeah, the atmosphere and your performance were probably the two highlights.
Punches above its weight, doesn't it?
Definitely, definitely. So back to your illustrious career, you've done your fair share of film and TV. I'm curious, what do you prefer one medium over the other, or are they pretty much the same to you?
I'm, well, they're pretty. There are things that are the same. This what I enjoyed about doing television when I was a regular on Roswell for 3 years, for example, um, was that every week you get another script, and it's like another chapter in the novel of your character's life.
Hmm.
So and they were also terrific about. He had my character in that series had an arc. He changed over the course of the 3 years. He starts out being the thing that the kids are most afraid of. He's the biggest problem they have. He's the sheriff, and he's sure that he knows that one or more of them are aliens from another planet or something, and he's going to get to the bottom of it. And if he does, they're all screwed, and the show's over. So they're running from him until the end of the first year,
Okay.
when one of them saves my son
Okay.
using his alien magic.
Okay.
And all of a sudden the character flips over and uses everything he can to keep them safe, to protect them and keep their secret. So it was, I really enjoyed it. I had a wonderful time on that episodic.
Mm.
I guess the difference with film is that films tend to be very intense. We're all strangers. We get thrown together, and this thing gets made. How the sausage gets made. They're usually with film, you can take longer. You can spend more time getting this moment or that moment right, than you can on with it. You're going to shoot an hour show in 8 days, or you're going to shoot an hour and a half movie, a 2-hour movie in 6 weeks. So you have more time to find things and create what you need.
Yeah.
Which is
basically,
I guess Shawshank is maybe the best example of that. We had 11 weeks or something and 2 weeks of rehearsal.
What was that experience like? That's such a classic film.
That was amazing. That was, I think, one of the first times that I felt everybody at the dining table in the Shawshank dining table scenes. You look around the table and there's James Whitmore, and there's Tim Robbins, and across from you is Morgan Freeman, and it's like, holy Toledo! You're like, it's sort of like playing tennis with McEnroe or something. If you're a professional tennis player, you bring your game. everybody brings their A game. And you'd like to think that you always, you always bring your A game. But when you play with people who are that good, um, you rise, they bring you up.
Mhm.
Um, you could, I remember anywhere I looked around that table, Brian Libby, someone would say something, and you could watch the reaction on the faces all the way around. You could aim the camera at anyone,
Mhm.
and the story was alive.
Wow.
Even though they weren't the center of the scene. And I thought that was, it was one kind of wonderful ensemble
Yeah.
work.
Again, we go back to the theme of collaboration and how important that is on a film set. So,
Right, right. And that
um,
everybody cared as much as they cared. Nobody wants to drop the ball.
yeah,
Let me put it that way. We've gathered to tell this great story, and nobody wants to drop the ball.
right. And Shawshank, yeah, nobody dropped that ball. And phenomenal film, phenomenal. And you worked again with Frank Darabont a couple years later for The Green Mile. What was that experience like? Was that like an extension of the Shawshank feel?
That was very much so. Frank insists on that. If you're going to do a Darabont movie, everybody brings their shit. Everybody brings their game. Um, it was not as enjoyable, I think, for me because of the character that I played, who loses his two daughters. His little girls get murdered, and which, even though it was pretend, our own daughter was about that age at the time, and you spend a lot of time pretending that, how would you feel if that had happened to you, if you came out on the porch and there's blood on the floor and the screen's been cut and your daughter's gone.
Right.
I mean, how sick to your stomach does that get? The panic. And so I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time in a very uncomfortable place during the shoot, and I also had to run, which I'm not a big runner. It
Okay.
turns out I have short legs, and I had these work boots on, and I hated doing all of that running.
So you have a mental image of your dead daughter and you're running, and yeah, this is a very uncomfortable experience, it seems. This-
They didn't pay me enough for that. I'm glad it looks great it came out well on the film. I mean, I think it's very convincing,
film.
that this raw boned farmer
Hmm.
has just lost everything.
No.
I think that comes across pretty well, but it's not as fun as some of the roles I've played.
Right. It's not a feel good, but
No, well, not for me anyway.
right. So I'm curious, what was it like working with Tom Hanks? He's a favorite actor of mine.
He's a sweetie. Tom is a lovely guy. He was actually one of the producers on The Pacific when
Mm.
we were for the HBO miniseries that I did, and he's a, he's one of those actors that you he brings his A game, because and no one walks through the scenes. He brings out the best in the people that he works with, which is, I think, the sign of a terrific actor.
Hmm.
He listens better than almost anybody I know.
Interesting.
James Spader does that as well, by the
Yeah,
way,
you were on the blacklist with him, right?
which is why I'd never met him before. And, 20 minutes after we met, we're doing a scene like we're old friends. And I'm on my deathbed. And the scene just crackled. The scene just absolutely lifted off the page and became two old friends talking life that they shared. And and neither one, he didn't know. I mean, maybe he knew my work a bit, but I don't know. We had never met. It was just it's how well you listen,
Right.
you know.
And would you say that listening is the strongest trait of a good actor?
I'm sorry, say what?
Would you
Yeah,
consider
go on.
that was
Yes. Yes. I think it's far more important. I didn't know that at first. I thought it was all about what you produce with your voice, or your, can I cook up this emotion or that emotion, when it turns out that listening is 90% of it. Listening is one of the most powerful things you can do. And if you're really listening, there's this constant bubbling of emotions
right.
coming and going. They're just bubbling up, and you don't have to cook anything.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm feeling it right now.
it's an interesting thing.
It's good.
I used to constantly feel like, well, I got to cook something up here, and what ho, my lord. And
Awesome. Going back to the Grim Reaper, you just demonstrated a really great skill of yours is voices. And I know Colonel Stewart has sort of like a slight European accent to him, kind of the sinister Bond villain. You had the Grim Reaper who had this, I think it was a Czechoslovakian accent. How do you look up these how do you come across with these accents? How do they come to your mind?
I sort of use them when I need to use them, when they're appropriate. That can sometimes be the key that gets me into the character. I've always ever since I was a little kid, I've played with accents. I used to love Danny Kaye, and I would do them. I do the accents from cartoons, and I would do there's a music to them. There's a rhythm and a sound and so on. But what I found was, like with the Czechoslovakian one, was that if I once I started to do it and really do it and do it, for a few minutes, this guy sort of appears, who turns out to be that guy, the bass player who plays 40-minute, bass solos, and this petulant, guy. And that's just joyous. Then you just ride him. Then he can read the newspaper, and you're laughing because it's such a silly accent.
So
and
good.
You shouldn't make fun of people who have foreign accents, but I actually stole it from an actor named Jan Triskin. I did a play with him. He's gone now. But he was Czechoslovakian, and he played this character named Ranmi Singh in a play called The New Jerusalem at the Public Theater back in 79 or something or other. But he took like this, welcome to New Jerusalem. My name is Ranmi Singh. And he blew these, he would take the vowels and put the emphasis on the wrong.
That was his real voice.
Yeah, no, that's how he spoke. That was just his. Wow. That was just him. I am going to lunch now. Everyone should do that too. And so, but when I did it, it was just silly.
Yeah.
And it seemed appropriate for this Reaper guy. Right. So I did it at the audition, and they said, "Wow."
Yeah. The rest is history.
The rest is history.
So we're running a little bit out of time. I just want to see, are there any other projects you're working on now that you can talk about?
Um, I have a YouTube channel that I
Okay.
started back during the pandemic called William Sadler, The Kitchen Tapes,
Okay.
where I tell stories about working in the movies and sing some of my songs, which are funny and folky and funny
Hmm.
and country-ish, and I don't know what they are, urban folk or something.
Huh.
Um,
Hmm.
but they're great fun. I enjoy it a lot, and I play guitar and um,
Hmm.
keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah, for sure. Any other films or TV coming up?
Not that I'm aware of. I turned down a few things because of the COVID. I'm not interested in. I need to get vaccinated, and a lot of people need to get vaccinated before I'll get back on a plane.
Right.
So I'm not. I'm not anxious to, you know,
Yeah.
fly off to Atlanta and shoot something or other.
Right.
So I just keep,
Yeah.
sitting tight. I think it's coming. I think the,
Things are opening up.
I think we're digging our way out of this thing
Yeah.
now. So
And I'll tell you, another thing on my show, I do these film commentaries where basically I have like a couple of buddies of mine or some other critics, and we watch a film on kind of like mute and do like a live synced up commentary with it, with like trivia, wisecracks, like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
uh,
We actually did Die Hard with a Vengeance the other night,
oh
but
yeah,
I'm thinking Bogus Journey might be coming up soon.
you do it. You put the movie on mute, and
Yeah.
then do you put the lines in people's mouths and
No, we just kind of just talk.
like I'm saying if you did Die Hard 2, you could do like Colonel Stewart comes on, does the nude thing, and say, it's cold in here.
Yeah,
Ooh.
something like that. You should come on sometime. That'd be fun. Could do a whole thing for Die Hard too. But Bill Sadler, everybody, thank you so much. This was amazing. I want to thank you for your filmography. It is
Thank
a
you.
lot of it from my childhood personally, and you continue to work. You continue to dazzle. You're a great actor, and I want to thank you for everything.
As long as they let me do it.
Yeah.
Go see Alice Fades Away.
Yeah, Alice Fades Away.
Great
It's
flick.
now on digital platforms, guys. Check that out. And
Thank
Bill, I hope once the pandemic's over, or even before it ends, that you'll give us more great performances.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll
All
see
right,
what I
guys.
can do.
Yeah, please do. Please do. So I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar, and thanks for watching. Take care.